In this video, I'm going to talk about how to add data to a project and then change the symbology to make it something that you like based on the attributes that are in these data layers. The first place you need to go is your Add Data button. And this is under the Map tab. So if your stuff is on View or Share or Imagery, make sure you change to the Map tab. And that's going to get you to the Add Data button. So click the Add Data button. And from here, you'll navigate to where your data is located. In my project, I know my stuff is under Work, which is in the folders data. And the data that I'm looking for is city lands and city land zoning. But if you are opening this up to a new project, or the project hasn't had information like your databases, your default database in here, this may be pointing someplace that doesn't have anything to do with your project, especially if you're opening up a brand new one. You can always go down to your This PC, and in here you can get to all the information that your drive has access to. So like my computer's got my local drives, my network drives. If I need to get something off my server, I can do that here. Or if I need to get to my local drives, they're right here as well. I know that all of my GIS data is stored on my data drive. So we just go here, we go to Work. And now citylands.shp and citylandzoning.shp are both right here. So I'm just going to select both of those and hit OK. And these are going to show up on my map here. And here they are. So it's pretty easy to add data into your map. And if all you're doing is just looking at it, and you don't really care how it looks, then you're in pretty good shape right now. But if you want to change these and make them look a little prettier, or more presentable, or display a little bit more information, what you need to do is highlight them by clicking on it. And then up on top here where it says Feature Layer, you click here. And in here, this is all the different stuff that you can do to change your feature layer. Like just for example, I could make it so my city lands I can't see when zoomed out beyond 24,000. And if I do that, you see how this grayed out? And see how that it changed from like a reddish color to a purple color? That's because this is invisible now. But if I zoom in, now that comes on again. This is a handy thing to keep your stuff from being too cluttered. Another thing that you can do is set your transparency. And this is really nice. I'm going to shut off city land zoning. And just to show you, if we go up to transparency, we got a slider bar here that we can slide. And as I slide it to the right, your data gets more and more transparent. This is handy if you got aerial photography behind you and you want to see your layer, but you also want to see the photography behind it. This is how you take care of that. You can also go up here if you know how much you want. Say I want it 50% transparent. You can just type that in. And it will make it the transparency that you desire. Otherwise, you can always slide along this until you get the effect that you want. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is the symbology. This is where you actually change your symbol to look different. So we'll click on symbology. And as of right now, the primary symbology is single symbol. This is what you want when you want all of your features to look the same. You leave it as single symbol. And we'll change the symbol. And basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to make the inside of this hollow. I don't want this to show a color at all. And then I want to change my outline color to maybe an orangish. And then for the outline width, maybe we want to make that, I'll bump that up to 1. We can go like up to a 2 point. You can even do a 1.5 point. You can split the difference and go with a half point if you want to, but you have to type those in. And then you hit apply, and that will preserve the imagery that you want, or I guess the symbology. Now, when I do city lands, zoning, I want this to be a little bit different. I want this to display the different types of zoning based on the attributes that are in the layer. So what I will do is we will go right back up to feature layer, symbology, and we'll click on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this from single symbol to unique values. And when you do that, it changes my box a little bit. So it gives me a field 1 here. So what I want to do is I want to change the values based on the values in this layer. And in this layer, I have a field called district. So what I'll do is I'll just click on district, and this is going to change the colors based on the values that are in here. And when we look at this, we can see that it's done that. Now, you can change it right, leave it right here, and this would be fine. This would designate the different values. But say you got a set of values that you're using already. You already have colors in your project, and you want to make them look somewhat similar. The way you would do that is you'd go into these one by one and change them. Like just for example, ag or A1, maybe we want to change ag to white. So we'll just click on that individual symbol, and we'll change the color to white. We hit apply, and it changes it here, and it also changes it over here. We can also go back to the gallery, and maybe A1, we should make that white as well. Like this. And then maybe C1 is like a red. Maybe like a light red, and apply. And a C2 is a darker red. And as we work our way down, and a C3 is really red, it's more of a maroon, so we go like that. And as we do that, it starts changing these values to what we want. And then when we turn city lands on, we can see we have the city lands, and we got the zoning values that correspond. Another thing that we can do, we'll go back to our symbology. You can see down here where it says all other values. If we don't like that in our table of contents, because there are no all other values, all the values are going to be accounted for, we can go into the more and just shut that off. So that goes away in our table of contents. And like I say, the last thing you might want to do for that is go up to City Land Zoning and change the transparency so we can see through it a little bit. One final thing that's handy is labeling. We can do a quick and dirty label job on this really easily by highlighting the appropriate layer that we're working with, and instead of the feature layer, we go to labeling. This is going to give us our labeling values. So what we can do is we could change this from Tahoma. Maybe we can go to, I don't know, Times New Roman, bold. Now let's go bold italic. And we'll go like this. Okay. And then over here on the left, we have to specify the field that we want. In this case, we do want district, and then all we have to do is label, and this is going to label the values of each one of those. If you want to get a little more creative with your labeling, we can click this text symbol little down right arrow. This is going to give us a box and a lot more control over what we want to do for our labeling. One thing that I always do, especially when I have aerial photography as my base map, I like to put halos around my symbology. And the way to do that is you click the down arrow on the halo and then the halo symbol. We'll just leave it as white. And one point, we have a preview of how it looks here, and then we'll just apply. And as we do that, you can see that the labeling really jumps out at you. So that's something that I like to do. Another thing that's handy is positioning. What I like to do is I like to go only place inside polygon. This keeps things from getting cluttered, but this is something you want to mess with if you're making a map and there's only specific things on your map. Maybe you want to leave that alone. so that it doesn't say only placed inside polygon. But you can also do all horizontal straight. It all depends on how it's sitting on the map and how it tries to fit it in and around the feature that you're labeling. But this looks pretty good, and we could even go in and shut off the roads. And this is showing you what the labels are for all these. That's how you start from scratch. One more thing that you can do, if you're lucky enough and your person that you're getting the data from has created a layer package for you, like I'll shut these off. You can go to Add Data, navigate back to where we were, folders, work. If they've created a layer package, and you can tell that, it'll tell you if it's a layer package or not by looking at the type. I've got a couple of layer packages for each one of these. So we can click on those, and these are going to add just like the shapefiles did, but the difference with these are they've come in with the symbologies intact already. So this works out pretty well if you're trying to send someone with labeling. I just open the attribute table for this. It always, whenever I drag that into a new screen, it always throws it in the upper right. But you can see that this looks a lot like a shapefile that has all that information there already. So it's also easy just to use the layer package for creating stuff. Now you can still go in and change some of the symbology. Maybe I want to change this from white to maybe a deep brown. It works the same as a shapefile or a feature class would, but it's just packaged together. It's just sending along the default symbology instead of being blank or random. This may come in handy when you are adding data and messing around with new data layers.